I'm your host, Kevin Ghostwan. And with me today, as usual, is the invisible Troy David Phillips from Flashback Comics and Games here in Woodbridge, Virginia. Troy, you want to talk about comics this week? That joke would get old really fast, and we've done it. We're done with it. Troy's not here this week, so we're going to talk about some comics, or I'm going to talk about some comics, and that is a little bit harder for me than it was once back in the day, but I'm going to give it my best shot here. Of course, we've still got the inimitable Mark Lutz on camera. Mark, say hi.
Hi.
See, he's here. So there is at least one person here. It's a weird week, but it's the death of Wolverine week, so we couldn't not do this. The final episode might as well be an episode. The final issue of the 4-issue series, The Death of Wolverine, Part 4. We're going to go right into comics, by the way. Sorry, Brittany. She does the editing. Anyway, so here we have the special extra shiny version. Look at how shiny. Look at the back. Little skeleton hand there. Exciting. Yeah, this is the nice and shiny version. We have many versions of this. I'll even show you a little bit in the back of this, just how many covers we're going to see when it comes to Death of Wolverine comics this week and in the next couple of weeks. That's not it. There's more. Oh, look, there's more. So many variant covers. Canadian versions, because, hey, Wolverine is a Canadian. And so they're paying a little bit of homage to that. Let me show you a little bit more. We've also got some spin-off titles, like Storm. Death of Wolverine Storm. Storm doesn't look too happy about what's going on with the death of Wolverine. And, well, because Wolverine's dead, right? Also, Wolverine and the X-Men. That title kind of lost a little bit of steam now, because this is, well, the end of Wolverine for now. Some other things, we've got the Logan Legacy, a little spin-off, probably I assume one shot here that I looked through. This one also by Mr. Sully, who did the regular title. And then very similar to that same one, we've got the Canadian cover of that same comic. And so, Death of Wolverine, is it a stunt? Is it a dig at Fox? I don't know. Maybe it's both. Maybe it's just more comic, big arc, big event sort of things. Not really sure. Can't really. I don't think it's any one thing, is what I'm saying. And well, I will tell you that here in the I already read this. Here in the final pages, Wolverine seems rather dead in a pretty gruesome fashion. It doesn't seem like it's anything worse than he's come back from before, but for reasons that you may or may not be aware of with this series, he doesn't seem to be coming back. And the whole thing, to me, as a longtime X-Men subscriber back in the day, at least 80s and 2000s, those 2 decades, I was really into everything X-Men and certainly Wolverine. Not too thrilled with the movies, but when it comes to the comics, they were near and dear to my heart. So when I look at something like this, I think I don't appreciate it. I don't love it. I don't love the idea, but sales don't lie, and Marvel's a business, as we know, and the sales have been huge, not just here in Flashback Comics in Woodbridge, Virginia. Come in and get them from Troy. I'm sure he'll be feeling better by then. But everywhere. If you look up the top comics for September, as I did, you'll see that the very two top comics were Death of Wolverine #1 and Death of Wolverine #2. So it's hard to argue with the immense sales when it comes to that. But are they super collectible? I'm going to say probably more so than the X-Force era from the 90s, but maybe not as much as these little one-off issues that introduce a character that gets big later. But they've done a beautiful job with these hard covers. Not hard, but certainly thicker. The thick, shiny ones. That's my own personal description. So that's my first one for this week. As you know, we do the top 5, and in no particular order, let's continue on with some additional Marvel. As you know by now, I love Marvel. Marvel's my favorite. And then we have Avengers World. Now this is like Troy will tell you over and over, I'm behind on my comics, and he's getting me caught up. But if you notice on this cover, look at who we've got. If you remember the where are we going with this? I'm trying to get it. If you remember the animated one-off of the Young Avengers, I don't think it was called that, but anyway, this was a post Secret Wars future version of like the Children of the Avengers. Well, look, here are 3 of them right at the bottom. I'm trying to get the bottom of this. These 3 characters here are members of that team, which is kind of cool. And of course, you've got Cannonball and folks otherwise. I'm kind of just still getting into this, so I don't want to go into too much depth. But this is going to be definitely one of my top reads, one of my first reads for this week. Next up, as I like to call it, Sixus, but in reality it's called Axis. It just has a silly font here, silly logo, in my opinion. Troy says, no, it's wonderful. The Sixus, I mean Axis. But as we said last week, this is Red Skull getting all crazy and going nuts on things, and this is the new event. Oh, and by the way, what I just heard today, amazing. Maybe not the very next new event, but coming, I believe, next year, we're going to get another Secret Wars. Now, okay, we had Secret Wars, which was kind of when you were a kid like I was maybe, 12 or something like that when that came out. It was good, but for the adults reading at the time, it was like, well, this is kind of a kiddie version of each of these characters, even though it introduced some amazing things like the black costume, which would eventually become Venom, and things like that. But the Beyonder itself, the Deus Ex Machina that brought everybody together, was shown to be ridiculous when you got into the second series, the Secret Wars 2. There might have even been like a Secret Wars 3 one-off or something like that, or just a Return of the Beyonder special. It seems like there was another thing that was trying to tie up some loose ends at some point after that, still back in the 80s. Well, next year, this has just been announced. This was just told to me over the phone by Matt Cernacker. Matt, you better be right. That the next year's new big event is going to be Secret Wars once again, and so that's something to look forward to. Because if you look at it, they're doing kind of a better job. Marvel and all the comic companies are doing a little bit of a better job when it comes to putting together huge universe spanning arcs. So I'm kind of loving the idea, and maybe we can get kind of something a little bit more cinematic tie-in, something like that. Speaking of cinematic tie-in, something else that we well, we'll talk about that in part 2 when we go over to the Bungalow Ale House, where you can join us or heckle us from the next booth. We'll come back to that. All right, so Axis number 2. They're just going and going and going. And let me show you, this is the most shocking, this is spoilers, okay? But this is the most shocking page of all the pages that you're going to see in all of this. Look at that. I'm just kidding, it's blackness. Anyway, we'll be right back. All right, technical difficulties are fixed. Thanks to Mark. Anyhow, my next pick, also Marvel, shocking. This week we've got Deadpool's Art of War. And I've been enjoying some Deadpool lately. Of course, Cullen Bunn has been killing it when it comes to Deadpool. But you know who we've got this time? Peter David. So that's a thing. The art by Koblish and Staples is it's trying to look like it's within an old text, so it looks the coloring is a little bit watercolor / crayon-y, especially when I think it's supposed to be like, oh, Deadpool drew this with crayons, but fun stuff. Peter David, can't lose. Beyond that, see, we're jamming through it this week. We'll have more once we get to the restaurant because, you know, that's my forte, talking about the TV shows and the movies and such. One day, I'll be caught up on comics and I'll be half as good as Troy David Phillips is. Just saying. I mean, that sicky guy who is too lame to show up. Whatever, he's fine. I've been enjoying Doctor Who, speaking of television, especially this week. The Doctor, the 12th Doctor, the Peter Capaldi Doctor, has started to not suck. And the thing is, the show itself has been great, but the Doctor has been such an enormous jerk. And I'm saying this on the Flashback side of this show, saying jerk. Normally, I would say much stronger language. Just he's not been nice. Well, this last episode, he started to warm up, and in fact, even Clara has been, well, she's been amazing this season, and she and him seem to finally click together. And I don't know, maybe she'll stick around, or maybe she'll stick around for a couple and then bail. I mean, I know it's already been announced that she was going to bail, but I don't know when. Anyway, Doctor Who, Peter Capaldi version. There he is. How about that? This one, Robbie Morrison is the writer, Dave Taylor as the artist, and it's a bit cartoony, I have to say. Not, you know, this is not a J.K. Simmons sort of thing. This is, you know, it's a whole lot more cartoony than the Doctor Who sorts of comics that I've enjoyed most. Let me put it to you that way. But I want to give this a shot too. So this is going in my box for this week. And was that 5? You know, all those Death of Wolverines counted as 1, of course. But yeah, Doctor Who, Deadpool's Art of War, the Avengers World, and of course this is Doctor Who, the 12th Doctor number 1, by the way, Brittany. Yeah, Sixus, Axis number 2, and Avengers World, and the Death of Wolverine. Spoilers, Wolverine dies in a pose we've seen him do before. Just saying. Yeah, not that one. Not that one. I've never seen him do that pose before, Mark. So next week we will have way more. I would venture to guess on 100% more Troy David Phillips, and he will fill your mind with more comic book knowledge. This week, a bit of a filler when it comes to the comic book side, but I hope I've piqued your interest in a few things that you might come to Flashback Comics and Games in Woodbridge, Virginia. Of course, as always, like them on Twitter, follow them on Facebook, or the reverse, depending on your likes and dislikes. And of course, do the same for Comics Online and on both of our what's it called? Darn it, the YouTube. Why can I not think of things? I was doing so well this episode, and then I was falling apart. YouTube and, of course, Blip TV when it comes to Comics Online. That's where all our new stuff is. You look at our YouTube, and it's like, oh, you haven't updated in like a year. Well, us and Google are not the best of friends at the moment. But anyway, like us, friend us, do all those things. We would like to see it. And comment us. Let us know what you like best. That's important. Because, if you say, hey, Kevin, you quit saying I'm going to say, Kelsey, that I've had enough of that. I'm not good at not saying I'm just not. Kelsey's not here today. She's waxing people next door. And if you'd like to get waxed, come on next door to Flashback Comics and Games here in Woodbridge, Virginia, and Kelsey's mom will wax you. I'm just going to keep on talking until Mark just shuts me up. No. Okay. That's it for this half of the show.
From leaping tall buildings to going off like gamma bombs. Switch your internet browser to ComicsOnline.com.